and I'm here in Philadelphia for the SCTE Cable Tech 2016 show. So when I look at the range of service assurance offerings that EXFO has specifically for MSOs, it's not unlike what you would see for a telco. An MSO and a telco, I would argue, are almost interchangeable from the service perspective that they're offering to customers. And we have a very complementary service offer that builds on itself to provide a unique set of value that I really don't think you can find anywhere else in the business. It starts with our active assurance, which is going to enable operators to test layers 1 through 4 of the network. Moving on to passive assurance, which is going to allow us to get the service layer, or roughly layer 7 of the network. And then we have an analytics package, Extract, which puts all that together. These things work together to enable you to really do the kind of fault triangulation that you need to give you the lowest possible MTTR on faults. NFV SDN in cable has probably the same value proposition that it has in most places, which in the end is greater service velocity, lower OPEX, lower CAPEX, all of the benefits that go ultimately with reaching the sort of the final DevOps model of rolling out services, which really enables me to deliver new services to my customers faster and better, while at the same time potentially turning my telecom platform, whether I be an MSO or a telco, turning that platform into a platform that I can wholesale to other people by selling slices of it for new services, or even potentially just using a slice to isolate a new service that I'm offering from everything else that I'm doing. So there's a huge range of value there. Now what EXFO is doing in this space really is what I would call pacing the market. So we see NFV SDN rolling out in more or less 3 discrete phases. We're at phase 1 right now. First phase is really just what I would call virtualization of the physical world. So what people are doing are virtualizing probes, virtualizing network functions. They're doing it one for one, more or less. So if I have an SBC, now I can run an SBC as a virtual entity. If I have a probe, I can run it as a virtual entity. And right away I realize CAPEX and OPEX savings. That's actually where I think most of the business is. That's the current product offer that EXFO has available today, fundamentally virtual probes that can be manually orchestrated. Now as you go into the second phase, where we've kind of got some experience now with how that works, what we're doing in the second phase is looking at how you now begin to orchestrate networks of virtual functions to create an entirely unique service offering made up wholly of virtual functions. And there you're principally looking at, I think, what we call scripted or manual automation, so that you're starting to put scripts together that can actually turn up, turn down, and otherwise manage entire telecom networks worth of virtual functions. In this space, EXFO has a product that we're working on right now. We call it the MDC, the Monitoring Domain Controller. I don't think we have enough time to go into it in great detail here, but fundamentally what it's going to do is enable you to manage monitoring as an abstract service. So you don't really need to be aware of whether you're working with physical probes or virtual probes. So you know we're going to be in this hybrid transition for probably 10 years. This will hide that, as well as enabling you to work with multiple vendors' probes, if you wish, all abstracting it to monitoring as a service that can be used. Finally, I think in the end we're going to get to the final stage, which is full closed loop SQM, and you're really going to see there that the network is feeding up through virtual functions a variety of information going back to the orchestrator, allowing the whole network to be self-healing and self-correcting. And we have a product offering there that we're working on as well right now, which we call the Test Automation Controller, which is going to automate from a DevOps perspective the insertion of verification or quality management directly into the service chains as they are defined in a DevOps model. So lengthy answer, I'll stop there, but that's how we see the market rolling out, and that's what EXFO is doing to pace that market and match what's needed. I think the real issue that you're getting at there is, how do I virtually assure a completely virtual service? And the issue there really is one of how do you get data flowing between virtual elements? How do you get that into some form of an assurance capability that is then able to make sense of it? And there's a whole lot of good answers to that. Virtual probing is one of them, although performance is a real issue there, and we're working hard to resolve that quickly. Another one, though, is analytics. So when you stop and think about all of those virtual elements, they're all generating some form of quality data in the form of logs, traps, all sorts of other things, which can be correlated in real time with the information coming up from virtual probing elements. EXFO has a solution called Extract, which we are using as our analytics solution, and it's capable of taking all of that stuff up and correlating it together to come up with meaningful intelligence. One of the things we really wanted to highlight is what was uniquely of interest at a show like this, at the Cable Tech show, which is a cable show. What's really of interest to the people who would be here, and what we really wanted to make sure the people here understood was that we have had at EXFO for many years a very mature and very solid video assurance offering, which we haven't really talked about here in any length. I'm only with EXFO for about 9 months, but after I got here, about 2 or 3 months, I started saying, you know what, our video assurance is probably the best kept secret in the business. And one of the things that we're trying to do here at this show is actually get that message out. We have an in-service, highly qualified, very stable video assurance offer, which covers all the way from the head end, all the way to the home, and everything in between.